Hi everyone, this is a quick review video of Geometry Lesson 1-6. In this lesson we talked about the midpoint and distance formulas. So the midpoint formula just says if you average the x values, you'll get the x value of the midpoint, and if you average the y values, you'll get the y value of the midpoint. So in this case we have a midpoint of a segment that has endpoints of -2, 4 and 4, 8. So what I'm going to do to get the x value of the midpoint, I'm going to take this -2 and this 4, and I'm going to add them together and divide by 2. -2 plus 4 is 2, and 2 divided by 2 is 1. Okay, so this equals 1. And I'm going to write it down here for my final answer. Now, I have a y value here of 4 and a y value here of 8, so I'm going to add them, 4 plus 8, and then divide by 2. This is 12 divided by 2, which is 6. So I'm going to take that 6 and write it down here, and this is my midpoint, the point 1,6. That's my answer. Okay, in example 2, it's slightly different. They gave you the midpoint. M is the midpoint, and they gave you an endpoint, and they want you to find the other endpoint. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to write these equations, and for point B, I'm going to use x comma y as its ordered pair. Okay, so I'm going to do a values x plus b values x, and then divide by 2. So x plus -6. And adding a -6 is the same thing as doing x minus 6 divided by 2, and it's going to equal the midpoint x. So these are all going together in my formula. Okay, and then I'll do the same thing for the y's. This y plus this y divided by 2 is going to equal this y. So I have y plus 2 divided by 2 equals 2. Okay, y plus this one divided by 2 equals this one. Okay, so I'll just multiply by 2 in this equation to get my equation solved shortly. These 2's will cancel, and you get x minus 6 here equals 4 times 2 is 8. Then you add 6, so x is 14. Over here, I'll multiply by 2 to get rid of that 2 in the denominator. These will cancel, and you get y plus 2 equals 4. And then you subtract 2 on both sides to get 2. So my endpoint B is 14, 2. And that is my answer. Okay, so that's it for the midpoint. Let's take a look at the distance formula. The distance formula is this square root. You subtract the x's and square them, and you add it to the y's subtracted and squared, and then you do the square root of that. Now, I also gave you this acronym to help you, subtract, square, add, square root, because that helps me remember these steps, and I think it's a lot less intimidating than that distance formula. So I'll show you how both of them work with example 3. It says find the length of AB, where A is -2, 4, and B is 4, 8. So I'll put it in the distance formula. It's the square root, and I'm going to subtract my x's, so -2 minus 4, and then square, plus subtract the y's, 4 minus 8 squared. Now I'll actually do the subtraction. -2 minus 4 is -6, and it's squared. And 4 minus 8 is -4, and I need to square it. Okay, and don't forget to write your square root around the outside. -6 squared is 36, and -4 squared is 16. Remember, when you square a negative, it turns positive. If you do it in calculator and it tells you a negative, that means you typed it in wrong. You forgot these parentheses. 36 plus 16 is 52. So this is the square root of 52. If you know how to simplify square roots, you could try doing a factor tree to see if you get anything that can be factored, and I divided wrong. That is 2, but you'll have a remainder of 1, so 26, and this is 2 and 13. Okay, so you have a pair of 2's. One gets crossed out, the other one is written on the outside, and this 13 just needs to stay on the inside. So this is 2 times the square root of 13. If you don't know how to simplify that, we'll go over it again in class. but you can leave it as the square root of 52 unless they give you rounding directions, and then you type the square root into your calculator and round to the desired space. Okay, now for using the acronym, I'm going to show you how that works. So I'm just going to line up my points just so that the x's and y's are on top of each other. And then I'm going to subtract this. -2 minus 4 is -6. 4 minus 8 is -4. Then I square this. Okay, -6 squared is 36. -4 squared is 16. Then I add them together. 36 plus 16 is 52. And it's the square root of 52, which we already know is 2 times the square root of 13. Okay, so I think this is a little easier to look at than this. I think it's easier just to remember the SSAS, subtract square, add square root, but it's completely up to you. Now our final example asks us to use the Pythagorean theorem to, again, find the length of this segment AB, same one we've been using. So I'll show you how to do it on a graph. Okay, here's my graph. I graphed point A and point B. And remember, the Pythagorean theorem needs a right triangle. Okay, so here is the right triangle. See it there? And remember, it's A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Okay, so I need to find the length of A. So I just count the boxes. 1 box, 2 boxes, 3, 4, 5, 6. So A is 6. I count the boxes here on side B. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes. And now I can just put it into my Pythagorean theorem. 6 squared plus 4 squared equals C squared. 6 squared is 36. 4 squared is 16. 36 plus 16, again, is 52. And I have to do the square root on both sides to get C alone. And this is my answer, which, again, I know this is 2 times the square root of 13. You could simplify if you wanted to, but either of these is acceptable. So that's it for this video. Let me know if you have any questions, and I hope this helps you with your studying.